Good morning. This is Janet with monthly book review at the West End Library in Laurelton, Pennsylvania. Today I'm going to review a book called Blind Descent, and the author is Nevada Barr. The previous book reviews I have done were on book series, which I had read all the books in those particular series. Blind Descent is actually book number 6 in a series featuring Anna Pigeon, who is a park ranger who finds herself in varying situations. Since this was my introduction to Anna Pigeon and author Nevada Barr, I had no idea what to expect. I had to admit, I had to force myself to continue reading the first 52 pages. Fortunately for myself and the story, it picked up quickly from there. Blind Descent takes place in the state of New Mexico in Carlsbad Caverns National Park. A new chain of caverns had been discovered that contained many wonders, different structures, varying sizes, and of a nature that had never been seen before. The story begins revolving around the rescue of a caving accident, and the woman to be rescued had requested Anna to come on the rescue mission. Anna had no idea as to why she was being requested, except she is friends with the woman who was to be rescued, and that this woman was also a fellow park ranger. I stated above that I had to initially force myself to read the beginning of the adventure due to my following along the diagrams in the cover of the books, indicating the different caverns being entered, and when they were not being mentioned, I was getting confused. However, once Anna Pigeon and the other 2 people in the rescue party reached the area where the original exploration group was camped, and Anna was introduced to the menagerie of cavers in the group, the action and interaction between the cavers became very interesting. Anna's friend had severe damage to her one knee, and she had hit her head and was in and out of consciousness, which was the main injury concern. At one point, Anna's friend, whose name is Frida, was able to tell Anna that her injury had not been an accident and that the mushrooms were dead. Anna had no idea what she was referring to as far as the mushrooms were concerned, and her interest was piqued as far as it not being an accident. The story describes a world of exploration that in this case the chain of caverns were so deep and of a length that there was no life present, no cave bats or cave crickets, just total pitch blackness. Everything the rescue group carried in had to also be carried out, food refuse as well as body refuse. In such a pristine underground world, there are not the natural elements present that would decay any of such things, and leaving refuse behind could interrupt the natural beauty and growth of the underground crystals and growths in the cavern, which result from water and mineral decay and deposit. Anna Pigeon suffers from claustrophobia and had to force herself many times to keep going and not return to the surface. The only visibility in the cavern system are the headlamps and flashlights that they carry in their gear. Some areas of the caves, she and the rescuers had to crawl on their bellies, pushing their gear either ahead of them or tied to their ankle and drag it behind them. At one point in a natural underground lake, they had to strip their clothes off, put them in plastic bags, and swim to the other side. Then, of course, dry off and redress. The swimming undressing to do the swimming was not only to preserve their clothing from getting wet, but to more importantly preserve the pristine nature of the water by not contaminating it with any of the debris from the above world and dirt accumulated on their clothing. Just the description of the total darkness and totally having to depend on others in the party for direction, guidance, and experience, but expertise in how to traverse the many descents and ascents that had to be made was absolutely amazing. I know for myself I could not only not, but would not be able to partake in such a dangerous and arduous sport or to be part of an exploratory expedition. The sights of natural phenomena sound so incredible and were described in such a nature that I was able to picture them easily. On the journey to bring Frida up out of the caverns, explained the cavern systems pictured inside the book covers with much more detail, and it was exciting to follow along as the journey moved back toward the beginning. The description of the different pieces of equipment used in caving and how they are used and different techniques used when traveling in the subterranean world were very detailed and makes one realize this is truly not just a whimsical hobby or occupation. It is very difficult and dangerous, and one simple mishap can result in people being killed. While on the journey back to get Frida out to safety and get her the medical help she required, a rock slide happened, and as a result, Frida's life was lost. The main part of the exploration and rescue group continued on out of the system to the top, while a couple stayed behind to stay with Frida's body until another group went down to assist in bringing her out. After making it out of the cavern system, there began to be more of the backstory of the cavern system and other above-ground environmental issues come to light that makes Anna begin to question the integrity of the original exploration group. Frida telling Anna her injuries were not an accident also made her begin to wonder what was actually behind Frida's accident. Although she had not wanted to go back into the caverns, she felt she had to, and told only one other person beside the person who went back in with her. She also realized that one of the original exploration group never came out of the cavern and was concerned that she had been buried in the debris from the rock slide. Anna and one of the other group members went in to try to discover what exactly happened. What they did find was an uncharted area of the cavern that was more beautiful than anything ever seen before, but it was being destroyed by above-ground industrial waste. Reading Blind Descent did introduce me to a new hobby and business that many people are involved in and how dangerous it is, and then putting themselves in danger's way at all times. The way caving was described lets people know that it is almost an obsession to go underground. Upon finishing this book by Nevada Barr, it did interest me enough to read other novels in the Anna Pigeon series.